Alright, well, this has
No,
been a
CIA
blast.
will pay for your
Look,
audiobooks.
Cappy, shut the fuck up. This has been a blast. I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette.
I'll be here,
Everybody.
man. I'll be here. If you want to like just connect on a personal level, maybe we can work something out, man. But if
Oh
you're
no,
making a
I'm here
decision,
for it. I'm here, honestly. I'm here
and as
as
far
long
as
as
like,
you want.
if I can have an opportunity to answer, like, if you guys want to ask a few like real questions, like, am I afraid of women? No, I'm not afraid of women.
AHB or AB, what do you mean work something out?
AB,
Works.
just, I want you to know, look, I am gonna go out and smoke a cigarette
Nah, I
right
get
now.
it, man.
But I'm
That's
here,
actually really good.
you can let me finish. I'm here for the entire night. You can, I can talk to you the entire night.
Cool,
I'm
cool.
here for it. I'm up for it.
Cool. Sounds good.
But
was
I
just saying,
will be right back.
have a good cigarette because I wish I had one right now, man. I wish I had a fucking Newport. Somebody have a Newport I could bump. So first of all, you guys can ask me whatever questions you want, and I guess the first one I'll do is Ragnarok. Why do you feel respecting people's pronouns is not part of the work struggle? Oh, that's a long one. And obviously I would be better writing a fucking essay on it, right? Well, it's not. See, I think you're getting it from that screenshot, right? And I think what I remember is like 5 months ago, dude. So you're asking a dude about some shit he said 5 months ago, but let me bring it back up for myself. I think that
Audiobooks.
All right, we ready again? All right, so anyway, point of what I was saying was, it's not like I don't believe that's important, man. Like, you guys just told me right now that using, transsexual as a term, sure, if that really makes, people feel better, yeah, I'll start. Like, what should I say? Let me learn that. You know what I mean? Because I'll admit, unlike a lot of you, I think, I don't know shit, really. I read Marx, read fucking Lenin, read some shit about a lot of fucking theory on anarchism, and I don't know shit. So, of course, there are things I don't know. If you guys think trans people is just the way to go, cool. That sounds even easier to say. But, I mean, it's not like I don't think that's important. But you over here banning people because they don't know things? Like, why don't you explain to me, what I should be saying instead of banning me? Take time to. And a bunch of people are going to ask those questions. And you guys can say that, go other places and learn it. Nah, fuck that. We socialists, let's fucking teach other people. Let's fucking reach them on a personal level so they know what kind of people we are. It's just personally. Anybody got any questions?
Yeah, I have a quick one. What do you want to work out? I mean, with MSFD, what's your end game on this?
I kind of explained that earlier. My end game is a free and open sub where we could talk with each other, and not ban everybody that disagrees with what you say. My end game here is to be honestly, you want to know my fucking dream here? Is that we all get together. We start making concerted efforts to, go out into Reddit News, and start posting leftist opinions and fucking perspectives and working together on how to do this and what to say to people, training people on what to say when they're confronted with this in this position. And just making concerted efforts like that from across the spectrum and non-sectarian, I mean, there's a lot of people on fucking leftypol, man, who know a lot more theory than you or I. And I love learning from them and them telling me to read different shit. Like, there's a few things I've started to read because of them. Bordiga is one of them, and somebody posted a book on Kropotkin. I read that shit too. So I'm still learning, man. Yeah, they have great posters. They really do, Vuvu. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of those people want to go to Reddit, and maybe they do want to reach out, but we need to reach out to them first, not ban them if they think of something different than us, just, and they're respectful.
But casual racism, casual sexism, cancel homophobia isn't something.
Check this out, man. You go out into the world, and I'm saying this as a dude who's been in an army.
I've been in the army too, man. I'm also a vet, so don't pull that card on me.
What I'm saying is, why don't you teach them? I was Chinese. I got so much fucking Chinese racism directed at me, but when I told them about my perspective, tell them about my life, explain to them that, we're not different, and you can eventually get them to reach socialism through that kind of talk. Be personable. That's what we're here to be, as ambassadors for our ideology.
Okay, but these people already claim to be part of this ideology, yet they still use casual racism, casual sexism, casual homophobia. So
like, what? Teach them, man. But if you just ban them, they won't learn anything. They won't have an opportunity to listen to you.
So
in leftypol, what they do is
whole swaps of people because we want to wake up a bunch of 4chaners or 8chaners.
I'm not an 8chaner. I'm fucking ethnic, and I'm not turned off by any of their fucking chink jokes. It doesn't hurt me. I know that.
Please don't use.
I'm Chinese, bro. That's
Fine.
the problem here. What are you talking about?
That's absolutely wonderful, but again, I'd ask you not to use terminology.
Oh boy, that's exactly. See, this is where I guess we'll disagree, and hopefully we can run for platforms. You can run for a platform. I'm asking people not to make you uncomfortable. I'm gonna ask for a platform where you at least learn and like listen. Hopefully, I can tell you that chink hurts people. You know what I mean? But don't be afraid of that shit. Like I said, man, people on leftypol are just fine with it. Nobody needs to be protected. They can all think for themselves. They're all adults. You know what I mean? And you know, you act like I'm not talking about you. My bad. I'm just kind of using a phrase like I guess let's say we act like you know, the board culture is, you know, hurting people. And yeah, I mean, they're a fucking, you know, pretty rapacious bunch, man. That shit's prickly, and they do say some crazy shit to you. But the point is, you know, a lot of people are going to say some crazy shit to us, especially if we go out into the world and start talking about socialism, man. Like on that subreddit drama thread the other day, I had so many people come at me with some bullshit arguments and thought I was a fucking, even thought I was a fucking idiot because I was a socialist, right? Like we got to be thick-skinned, and the first thing we could do is show that we're with it, we could take it. Obviously, I'm not with, you know, obviously people coming in and starting racist threads. Like that's not cool with me. But my bad. Mic cut out. Can you say that again? Mic cut out. I can't hear you. For me, I couldn't hear you. So could you repeat that? So you're asking if, like, okay, I think Leninade actually posed your question a little succinct. Do you not think that significantly alienates a significant portion of people and that actually actively pushes people away? Okay. Okay. I dig it. I really do.
Hello, everyone.
What's up, man? So I don't think that pushes people away inherently. I think the moderation policy does that more for us. Because like I said, man, like I'm a dude who wanted to learn about socialism. That's all I wanted to do. And I went to our socialism and asked a few questions and started talking to people about, you know, I think it was gender or something like that. And, you know, I was banned, and that was like, I don't know, 5 years ago. And that really turned me off, man.
So let me ask a very honest question, and we'll have
I want an answer to. I want an answer to NG's question.
This is piggybacking off of the original question here. Are you saying that people at Left Poly are incapable of holding a conversation about socialism without using gendered or without using racist terms, without using homophobic or bigoted terms? If so, then they're really not socialists in the first place. They're not raising the level of their discourse to one that the forerunners that we have, you know, the giants or the shoulders of the giants we stand on have fought and died for. Lenin didn't go around.
Is that a question or a statement?
I'm asking you. Are you saying that people are not? I asked the question originally, and then I added to it. Are you saying that people that you represent and that you're part of cannot get rid of homophobic, racist, bigoted speech, and that we?
It ended at and we. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and say this then, since I guess I got the gist of your question. I guess what I'm saying is LGBT, poly, socialism, whichever one you mentioned, that's a safe space, right? That's the one. That's the one you can go to, and specifically people among you know, that community can be a totally safe space and just fucking be free from all that. But socialism, the Reddit subreddit in general, why it's so important, right? That's the front. That's the fucking one that reaches people. And if they want to go somewhere after that, good, you've convinced them. But if they can't arrive at that forum and, like me, ask a fucking question, get into a conversation with somebody, and immediately get banned after not even finishing learning what we were trying to learn and get to the point of what we're trying to get to, we've hurt our cause.
Well, why? No.
Hold on. You said perhaps, right? Let me finish my fucking point. So, my bad, dude. I'm in a cuss, but you know, I'm kind of got a sideways mouth. I guess what I'm trying to say is that hurts people more. And I think we lose a lot of people that way, more so than the safe space stuff. Because, like I said, I'm like, call me anything you want, involving Chinese ethnicity. I've heard it a million times. It doesn't hurt my fucking feelings. I guarantee you, other ethnic people or gay people out there have heard a lot of things directed at them. And I'm not saying that the people, like the actual members of our socialism, we should be telling people like, yeah, that stuff hurts people. Go ahead and tell them that they should use the word trans, but tell them why. You know what I mean? And if they,
we do. It's called our socialism.
Right. If that's not the point, though, you can just ban them and send them there. That's not all right with me. Leftypol, I think, garners a lot more support than you guys do, just because they.
Well, no, okay, that's actually a really interesting point.
Go ahead.
Why? First of all, to the first point, why would we allow non-socialists to contribute to a socialist forum? Secondary to that, why would we allow them to do that when we have a very obvious, and when I say obvious, it's part of our broadcast to anybody who comes to the forum. We have our Socialism 101.
All right, I guess I'll say this, is that let's take your actions, for example. I was banned for a transphobe comment where I said they think that gender pronouns come before workers' issues. I'm sure that's the one you guys want to talk about. Now, like I said, I only have my real experience, I guess. The signatories, the petitioners, they have their own experience, but this is what brought me here, right? It was, and it's keeping me going. That comment wasn't transphobic. You know what I mean? Like, once you tell me beforehand.
I'm not here to talk about why you were banned and why you're.
That's the only experience I can give.
I don't really give a shit about it.
I'm not speaking for the petition. You don't have a conversation with me.
No. I'm not here to talk about. You can try to talk over me, but I will succeed. I'm not here to talk about why you individually were banned.
That's the only experience I can offer, bro.
What you plan to offer the community. And the fact of the matter is you don't actually have anything. When asked that same question, your answer is you would bring back the old mod team to tell you what to do.
Look, man, if you're taking over like an organization, like if you're a new person coming into an organization, you need to work with the previous people. They're the ones who have the experience. That's why Iraq failed, because they never fucking asked the actual, people on the ground, like, what can we do? They fucking took it over. I don't think I know everything. You're definitely a better moderator than me. But what I'm saying is, like, the policy stuff, that's got to be democratic. And even if the policy comes out to be something I don't like, I'm going to have to abide by it. But I think people should be able to.
But we've already said straightforwardly that we plan to make things more democratic, make things more open, make decision-making open than we have before.
Right.
Immediately, in an immediate sense, within the next 2 to 3 days, plan on making our mod logs and mod mail, whichever we can get working first, available to people who want to look at it. Like, I'm not sure what your actual complaint is.
The complaint is that it's you guys, right? Like, they've said this a million times in the petition, and this is all I've got to say about the question. It's pretty succinct. You guys' reputations are not in trust anymore. You have to let people have a threat to replace you, at least with democratic elections, before we do anything going forward like that on policies and whatnot, openness. Any kind of openness is tainted.
Your exact threat is to say,
I'm not threatening
top mods. No, your exact threat is we get to be top mods, and then we bring you back to do our work
for us.
My
threat is top. I don't want to be a mod, bro. I want to just have people vote on who wants to be a mod and who's going to be the best. But if you don't, like, that's the only difference between what you're proposing and what I'm proposing. It ain't going to be you guys doing it. We have to do this as a community. We can't have you controlling the process anymore. They all said. That's a lot of conjecture there, bro. Okay, so what I'm saying is, you want to do that, then get those people to unsign the petition and go with you and do what you want to do. Hold on. I'm Angie. You agree, but you were the top person who instantly just banned me. Where is that? Why do I trust your words? breaking the rules,
I'd
bro.
ban
You
you
went back
myself,
4
to be
and
honest.
5 months into my user history and dug something up. That's the ones you posted. Okay. That's right. I didn't break no damn rules either. What rules did I
You want
break?
my honest opinion, AB? You want my honest opinion?
Sure, tell me, man. Go ahead.
The fact of the matter is you should have been banned immediately.
Okay.
Not because, you were trying to have a dissenting opinion, but it's that you didn't even know what your dissenting opinion was. You wanted to stir up drama, and you wanted to stir up drama roughly a month ago, and we have screenshots to prove it. But you wanted to stir up drama to get all this to happen.
All right.
To get the R Socialism mod team replaced, so that once whoever you weirdly think should be top mod is top mod, can then put us back in power to do what we were doing in place, or doing already, because you don't know what the fuck your plans were in the
All
first
right,
place.
bruh. Go ahead. Check it out. I guess I'm here to be abused still, right? I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't need really to know right now, because this is not for me. This is for the 136 people that signed the petition. They're going to make a decision. Personally, I would vouch for letting you
Out of
take over the
80,000?
transition. That's what I would vouch for. Oh, they said that? That's fine. I don't agree with it. What's up with that? Why invite him? Because we have different opinions, and the basic thing was the 4 things we agreed on was these 4 things. I agree that it should be democratic. I wrote this.
Can I ask?
Dude,
Can I just ask?
Keep it real. I wouldn't be able to be a part of it if they let you back in. Dude, I'm saying control the transition, but I originally stood for, by the way, in this position that you guys can't stand for re-election. But somebody convinced me otherwise, and I changed my opinion, honestly.
You just said you'd bring us back even if we didn't stand for re-election.
So like you're saying, it was a month ago, right? Coming back, and my opinions may have changed. And I honestly think you guys make up a good point. I don't know a lot about moderation. I'll admit that. But that's the thing, though, is that we all have to give concessions, right? I can admit I don't know everything, but maybe someone on my team does. But I personally think you guys are the experts.
You literally just said that regardless of what happens, you would bring us back.
I would vote for it. Yeah, you guys know what you're doing. I would hope that you would trust that this is a democratic thing and help us out. But if you don't want to, we can figure it out.
Yeah.
Did you say that?
You are literally on the record as saying you will bring people in to vote the way you want to. And we have Gigi on the record in your fucking weird little Discord saying
I'll say this, my last thing, dude. If you go ahead and talk over me, then go ahead. But people should hear it, I guess. I didn't say nothing about that. But there are people on leftypol who were Redditors, and they were banned. And yeah, I want them unbanned, and I want them to be able to participate again. All the folks that want to actually
let me say this. I will talk over you for this. I will talk over you.
You want to come and talk? We can do it in the
I will talk over you for this.
My petition Discord. I'll see you later, bro.
Anybody from leftypol who thinks they have anything to say can go fuck themselves. That's that. Well, that was entertaining. From anybody who has a microphone, I don't really give a shit about what's happening in chat. Chat's going wild right now. Was I unfair to AB? Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Well, the fact of the matter is that for all the best laid plans of leftypol for a month now, they fucked it up. They fucked it up royally. They fucked it up more so than we fucked up with that individual ban. And it's frankly just amusing.
Am I allowed to talk on this? I won't if I'm not. I just want to know.
Yeah, you are.
I mean, I came here from the other thing, and he's very inarticulate from what I heard here. I don't agree with almost anything he said, but the actual appeal of some sort of democratic modeling does not seem like a negative thing. I understand it's abuse, but couldn't there be some form of like verification process? Like you have to be active for this long and have no strikes or whatever. Like, and I understand.
In terms of how we moderate a subreddit, is that your question?
Yes.
Mind if I answer that, everybody else? Socialist soup can. That is a worthwhile question to answer. And I'm glad you brought it up because it was never explicitly addressed in terms of this conversation. But the fact of the matter is that democratic control of a subreddit is a meme. It's a meme among leftist subreddits. That isn't to say we shouldn't strive for it. We shouldn't, do more towards transparency. That we shouldn't make things a little bit more open towards people, or that we shouldn't allow community outreach in terms of how we make decisions. I think we failed in that way a lot of ways in terms of our socialism. I think that's true. But the bottom line answer is that this kind of meme of democratic control of a subreddit is just that. It's a meme.
So, I didn't quite. Are you saying that it would just be too exploitable, or are you saying that it's?
Yes, it's too exploitable. The perfect example of this would be anarchism's meta-anarchism subreddit. And I would suggest trying to take a look at it. Fact of the matter is you probably can't because you're not part of the nomenclature of our anarchism. And that's the case in point example of why it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Well, I actually implied that, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I was referring to the voters would be, like, you had to be active for a certain amount of time, so you couldn't flood it with people from, as you said, leftypol, and them just pick someone. If they have to be on for a certain amount of time and haven't said a bunch of offensive things. No, I still hear you. Well, couldn't you do it as, oh, sorry. Didn't I like that?
Let me
Well,
really quickly to put this in blunt,
sorry.
let me put this in blunt, honest terms, and I don't mean, and again, I'm not trying to be rude about this, but I've heard this meme for years now, and the reason I say that is, for the past 2 years, I've been moderating one of the largest leftist subreddits. Well, one of the largest leftist subreddits on Reddit, but also one of the largest leftist communities on the internet, period. I have still, after all the time hearing this meme, never heard anybody give me a good representation or description of what a democratic process would look like. And people try to. I get that. But the fact of the matter is that none of them actually make sense.
Well,
anarchism is the perfect example of it.
I'll get to you real quick, but for the voting thing, couldn't you have it set up
that they have
like a bot?
Or you have
Sorry, what?
like the system they have for our anarchism is at least more democratic. I get that it's not a pure democracy. I get that. Reddit is just not structured for a democratic system.
With the upvotes. Well, I would have it where if I don't know how you tell me how realistic this is, but couldn't you set up a bot that you deliver you privately message, and then it would have your username, and then you could check the background of that for like if they would previously have been done things that are going against the rules of the subreddit,
Yes,
or have just recently joined.
What that leads into is essentially interpretation of this person isn't eligible for reason X, Y, and Z. And
Well,
once
we're already doing that, aren't we?
once we're in that territory, and you grant that territory, it essentially blows up the notion of having any universally agreed upon standard of having a Reddit election. It just doesn't work that way.
Well, did he? I don't think any people were elected. I think it was just a proposition. I might be wrong, but I thought it was just an outline of the potential. It just seems that the current era of, I mean, not era, you know what I'm trying to say, of lack of communication will cause fear. Like, it is causing fear, and that leads to this outlash we've been getting.
Okay, so what we have now, and I'm sorry to hijack this, but it is the direction you're going. What we have here is two different problems. One, we have a moderator problem of a lack of communication with the user base in terms of why we make the decisions we do, why we do X, Y, and Z,
Definitely.
and what's going on in our heads when we do things, and also the ability for the user base to see, oh, this is the thing they were reacting to, so they can see it, whether it's a Nazi or a brocialist or whatever. The ability to see it so they can understand, like, oh, that's why they would react in that kind of way. I think that's absolutely true, almost trivially true. The problem is that a normal, recognizable problem that does need to be addressed, that we're working towards addressing, that we've announced we are working towards addressing, all of those specific problems has now been conflated with the entire mod team needs to be gone because somebody banned someone making Catgirl cartoons. That's nonsense. And anyone promoting that or pushing it still, or even pushing it without realizing it, can honestly kind of go fuck themselves at this point.
I don't think that people are doing it all because of that one thing. I think it's a combination of things that have been happening for quite a long time on this subreddit. I don't think that's a necessarily right reaction.
No, I
but
agree with you. I agree with you. I agree
Oh,
with
geez.
you on that. I agree with you on that, Socialist Soup Ken. Actually, a moderator said it to me personally. We were talking in private messages, and I, at the time, was saying to them, I regretted not taking a harder stance against this action. And their response was, well, look, it doesn't actually really matter. We were leading to this at this point, no matter what. The fact of the matter is we need to solve this issue of how we communicate what we're doing with the community as a whole. And I agree wholeheartedly with that. And I think we both do. And we're literally taking actions to do that as we speak. I understand it, we're not going to give you access to our mod channels to see exactly what we're saying all the time, but we are working on it. It's something we're literally doing.
Don't know if you can say that respectfully. I agree with most of the policy. I'm fine with. I wasn't there for any of what happened. I was off at the time. The idea of limiting the ableist language seems reasonable to me. I don't know what the problem is. It's just, I don't know. It feels like there are actions taken and then people are told about it after people are already angry about it. And it causes this sort of lag between any form of... It just feels like things are happening.
Yeah. No,
Oh, Jesus.
I have something really important to say to that.
I mean,
In
what you're
addition to
describing
that,
is... Oh, okay.
really quickly.
That's fine.
It was the SCP, quote unquote, investigating this story that led to Comet Party having the details they had, that allowed him to dox her to her employer. I mean, it's just a fact of the matter. These things all tie into each other.
I apologize. I don't know what... The only SCP I know is the website with the horror creepypasta thing. So I don't... That means something to me. unless that's what you're talking about. But otherwise, that sounds like a horrible thing that happened. I don't want anyone to, that's horrible. Doxing someone like that because it's not okay. Yeah, it's not okay. That's an overreaction.
And this entire situation, regardless of how we feel about it, obviously I disagree with the initial moderator actions that were taken that set all this in motion, but they led to people being doxxed. It led to people's real life it led to people in their real life being worried about what was going to happen to them. Yes, I agree. It was not worth it from a moderator perspective to let all that happen. And we take some of the blame in terms of allowing it to happen. But at the same time, there is a little bit of ridiculousness here that it's like, oh, it's just the Our Socialism mod team being wacky again, when it's, no, people are actually kind of fucked up about this. And the fact that they're willing to dox people, contact their employers, threaten their livelihoods because somebody making Catgirl comics on the internet was banned from an internet forum, like, you can kind of go fuck yourself for that.
I mean, that's ridiculous. But it wasn't just this random person did this thing. It was also this person who's been part of the community for a while, participated in, made art for the subreddit, and who was banned for what I believe is an unjustified reason. Was banned, but
you are literally saying what I said when that action was being discussed. I said myself in moderator channels you don't yourself actually have access to, but I was literally saying when that conversation was happening, do not do this. This person's been a good member of the community. They do commissions for members regularly. They're an awesome person, an incredibly nice person, actually. They are not doing anything intrinsically wrong. They're not actually breaking any rules in any intrinsic kind of way. They haven't even linked the content that you're most bothered by to the subreddit. Do not ban them, because everything that you're trying to prevent is going to be made 10 times worse by doing this action. And people ignored me. And I actually left the mod team for about 12 hours for it. And that's a thing that happened. We need to accept that. And I've talked extensively with other moderators that we need to accept what just happened about that. But that's a thing. And people cannot act like this is... We need to get rid of all the moderators after basically all the moderators in charge of that decision have left. It's frankly just bullshit. And it's bullshit peddled to make a bunch of Redditors feel good about each other.
I don't agree with any. I don't want any people to be punished for something they didn't do. What I keep hearing about there was like new people added the mod team that were like only how real is that? How verified is that as a thing? Were a bunch of people added?
No, well, what do you mean exactly by new people added to the mod team? What do you mean exactly?
Well, if I were to put my paranoid conspiracy hat on, apparently a bunch of like day-old users came back on conveniently after the people who did the bad decision were kicked off the mod team. Now, I'm not putting any actual weight into that. I'm just saying that's what the story I've been, the narrative I've been given. Okay. But nothing else.
Yes, I'll say this much. The people who were responsible for making those decisions are gone. Most of which by their own volition, simply because one of them got doxxed, and to be blunt about it, it scared the... yes, they are effectively gone. The other side of it is that a number of moderators who have been around for several months, several weeks, who have been elected through the normal channels of nominating moderators, have also decided to essentially change up their usernames simply so they do not get harassed in the way that we've been harassed over the years. I'm used to it. I've been around for years. I've been around for a very long time. I'm used to the harassment. Some of our moderators aren't, and some of our moderators, despite their post histories, despite how active they've been in the community, do not want to be harassed in their main profiles every day for reason X, Y, or Z. So yes, we have a couple people who quote unquote appear to be new on the mod team, but I can promise you, simply from a matter of just knowing, that they are not the people who are really. They are gone. One of which I'm actually glad is gone, but that's another conversation.
Okay, that's really good and reassuring to hear. That helps a lot with my confidence in this subreddit continuing to exist. But like, yes, yes, that sounds fantastic. That sounds wonderful. That sounds like the sort of thing that I was when I signed that petition was going for. I didn't pay attention to who wrote the thing. I did it just because of the information on there that looked interesting to me. It looked like like if there was this sort of like when all this stuff happened, if there was a statement about, hey, some people don't want to be doxxed, they did this, although it might compromise their safety, so I can understand that. Or like this sort of communication right here makes me 1,000 times more confident. Like it makes me feel secure in what I thought was going to be, I was scared. I love this place, but I was worried
Yeah,
about
no, I get
this.
that. And it's literally why I'm willing to do it. I'm actually willing to do it anytime. I'm willing to do it nearly any day of the week as long as I have time off work and, I'm not actually busy with actual things I need to do to, survive day to day. But I'm glad to do it, and it's why I'm here doing it. If I can, I do want to answer a couple other questions that were raised in general chat of this
Okay,
place.
no problem here.
Audiobook Bandit asked, can you speak to some of the concerns that people have about RSOC excessively spying on other communities / social media / etc.? Of course, this is partly due with and partly to do with other unveiled concerns. To answer that question, I participate in any avenue that's publicly available to me. The fact of the matter is Worf's Twitter was known for years. She was a contributor to our socialism for a very long time, and she was around for 3 years contributing her content. And as I alluded to or outright said earlier, the decision to ban her in the way that she was banned was frankly absurd. It was ludicrous, and it was just pure bad judgment on the part of our mod team. I fought against it there. I left the subreddit mod team for a while because I disagreed with it so much. But that's the fact of the matter. I've known Worf's blog for 3 years, simply because I've been around our socialism for 3 years. It's no secret to any of us. And I think there's this very bizarre treatment of public information and public blogs or sharing of public information that you can find from 2 or 3 clicks from a person's user history with it being the Stalinist policy. I think that's nonsense, and I think we need to kind of stop pretending that. Galanos Albescu asked, you said everyone on the mod team ignored you regarding the banning. Does this contradict with what you said previously? I'm not sure where I said one mod was responsible for banning them. If I did, that's, a bit of a slip of the tongue. That was essentially 3 to 5 moderators shitting the bed. Will argue that they were wrong. There is literally no reason that should have happened. This entire drama, there's not much more else to say to it. I'm sorry, there's not much more to say about it. They were just wrong. And the fact that somebody on our mod team got doxxed in defense of solving a non-problem like cat girls is frankly shameful to me. I'm not sure how Cumtown, probably implicitly misogynist, but I wouldn't say they're able.
How? See, I never got this idea about this sort of particular, because they were never sexualized. I read the comic. It's never, they're treated just like people.
Well, I think,
well,
I'll say this much. I think you're absolutely right in terms of the individual in question. It's not worth reading into more than what was there. It seemed like something that was a pastime for a person on their private blog to have fun with. That was more or less meant for fun. I think conceptually there is a problem with quote-unquote cat girls, and we might actually have a disagreement more of like what that actually constitutes. In terms of the domestication of women, the treatment of them as animals. But I actually think that's more of a contextual question, and we need to actually look at that in a more contextual way than what was presented to us in the first place. And I think that was the problem, is not treating it contextually, because it is a contextual problem. Otherwise...
Yeah, that seems...
Oh, go ahead.
Because that seems to be a lot of people's problem. Is that the moderators wouldn't take into context of the thing before they ban people for it. I heard the same thing happened about blind followers and stuff about that when it came to comments about Trump supporters. I don't know how much of that was accurate either, but I believe I saw screenshots, but I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, and to echo Anon Socialist's point, and it's the point I was making at the time the conversation was happening, is like, I've known Not Safe for Work for years now, and she's made artwork for me. I think she's a really, generally speaking, and I say this very specifically, she's a very generally cool person. I don't agree with a lot of her opinions. I really have a lot of problems with her relationship to leftypol, but I did not see a lot of the problems at face value that people did when they wanted to ban her. And I think the people, maybe it's me pulling rank, you can, say whatever you want about it, but they should have listened to people who have been around a little bit longer than them. But they didn't. And what happened, happened. And it was reversed, and a lot of shit's happened. At the end of the day, I'm not hyper concerned about it. I'm hyper concerned that moderators felt comfortable enough making that decision when so clearly other moderators had problems with it. Yes, I have a problem with that. But it's not the biggest deal in the world to me.
I think where almost all of this stems from is the fact that whenever communication does happen, it happens from this place of like the tablets from on high have come down and made this statement instead of it seeming like other people who have the same, like, if this sort of communication that me and you guys are having happened regularly, I feel like there would be not even a fraction of problems we have now with conflict within the subreddit. And I know your people are probably busy a lot, but it's just.
Well, yeah, no,
I mean, you might get something similar to what's happening right now in the chat, but there's always.
It is essentially what we're doing right now.
Yeah, it's helpful.
I'm a fan of that idea. I think that's a good idea. In terms of like, look, I understand for a lot of people, and again, I was one of the people vehemently against this decision when it happened. I feel I saw the writing on the wall when it happened. But in terms of the quote-unquote cat-girl decision, I do not want it to be confusing here. This isn't a matter of like some rogue mods just going off the rails here. The fact of the matter is that there are very specific reasons why several members of the mod team, especially more feminist members of the mod team, saw problems with it. I think it was not handled in the best way possible, but their opinions should not be ignored here. The fact that this blew up in the kind of way it did is absurd. The fact that it dictates.
This has been very great, this conversation. I have to probably go to bed, honestly. But I have things to do. But yeah, this has been fantastic. Actually been able, because when this happens, you're a person. You're not an authority up high that decides to do things and wants to deal with it. You're an individual who's trying to do the best they can with a subreddit. You become more of a person in this, and it's very helpful to have this. So thanks for letting me do this, I guess.
Yeah, no, I'm glad I'm really glad you had you were here and you asked your questions. And you're welcome back anytime. And I'm not sure exactly how to set it up because the way this was set up was just as a debate with some random jackass.
Yeah, I just piggybacked off that and came over here.
Yeah, and I figure a lot of people piggybacked off that. But I want this to be a regular thing. I don't know how to set it up as a regular thing, other than just kind of an obscure plan we have. But no, I'm glad I got a chance to talk to you, and I hope you understand at least a little bit more about where we're coming from.
Oh, one question. I always am confused. How connected are the left subreddits to each other? Like, how connected is full communism to socialism to late stage capitalism? How connected are those from a moderating standpoint?
It's a bit of an interesting question. It depends on each sub. Full communism and late stage capitalism are not really all that connected to our socialism, but we're like on good terms with each other, and we generally support each other when things go down. Other leftist subreddits, it's a little bit. There's a lot more to say there. Our communism, we're generally on good terms with, but we don't agree with each other, and we generally don't have much to say to each other. It really, it's a case-by-case basis, and it's really difficult to say much more than that. And I'm sorry, I wish there was a more universal answer to your question, but there really isn't.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Answers aren't always simple. It's, complexity is just how things work. Oh, okay.
Well, I'll say this much. There's actually an interesting answer to your question, and you should know it. It's a matter of history in terms of these communities. When I very first, and understand I'm one of the very first moderators of our socialism in terms of recent history. When I very first took it over, shit liberals say, shit tankies say, all the meta subs, meta leftist subs were doing X, Y, or Z to our socialism. When I took over, when I got the mod team that we initially had enacted, one of our first moves was to essentially get all of these meta subs to agree on a list of principles and policies. And we were mostly successful about that. A couple subreddits rejected them. Things happened over the years. But our overall policy was, look, you cannot be the social moderators of our socialism anymore. Our socialism needs to be moderated by actual moderators. And so that was our policy. And we were mostly successful with that in terms of places like shit leftists say, late stage capitalism, shit tankies say, any number of, shit whatever says you want to list off.
I was just wondering because despite the fact I signed I signed the petition and I went to that Discord thing. I wasn't banned from anything except for full communism, which I had just joined actually at that point. I don't whatever. I'm not asking you guys to undo anything. I was just wondering. One of the people who talked to me, the person who banned me, I have it somewhere. I don't. Their suggestion for me to get unbanned was to renounce the petition and then go to the leftypol, whatever it is. I don't go on those, so I have no idea. And then make a death threat. That made me very. I don't know what that. So okay, someone's saying it's a rogue mod. It was very uncomfortable. I was unsure how to deal with that.
Well, I would never. Look, I'll say this much, and I feel I can speak for any significant moderator of any community that I know of. Don't do that.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Don't waste your time. First of all, don't waste your time with leftypol. But second of all, don't put yourself at legal risk in that kind of way. It's just not worth it. I think that's pretty universally agreeable upon most of our mod teams.
I wasn't going to. I wasn't saying that you guys had anything to do with it. I doubt that was the case. I was just concerned. I didn't. This is the only time I brought it up because I don't know how to bring that up any other way. I don't know how I would contact anyone because I doubt I can't. Well, I can't post on full communism to say anything. I don't think you're even supposed to do that when it's like an individual situation. I didn't know how to address it. So.
Yeah. Well, I suppose bottom line, don't say shit that puts other people in real life physical harm.
Yeah, I have no plan on it. So.
I think that's a principle we can all agree on in terms of our behavior on the internet. That just seems straightforwardly a good way of keeping everybody safe.
Okay. Yeah. All right. All right. Well, bye. This has been great.
Yeah. No. Take care. Even regardless of this weird event, I'm always here to talk to people. It's what I do best. I'm pretty used to it at this point. So, if you ever want to talk about things in the future, feel free to PM me or, whatever. And this goes to really anybody here. I'm always willing to talk to people. Unless I need to sleep or, do work or whatever, I'm pretty willing to talk to people and figure shit out or workshop things if they need to be workshopped.
Okay. Bye.
Later. I really hope Alex Jones is in here. No, they don't. ABC 127. They don't give a flying fuck about women's liberation. The vast majority of leftypol is essentially a bunch of white college boys who read the Wikipedia page on Max Stirner. I haven't muted them. I can't mute them. C Magnificent is the one who leaked all those screenshots from Our Socialism. I had a lot of high hopes for them. They were generally a pretty cool person. Not sure why they decided to do that, but whatever. No, I agree with, like, he can basically go fuck himself on that front. But initially, before all of this drama happened, I thought, oh, they seem pretty cool and really actually want them to be a part of the community, but instead they decided to be a jackass. By the way, considering I know your tendencies here, CMAG, I do want to actually remind you that I live in a two-party consent state. So you will need to actually get my consent before you leak any recordings. Just be aware of that. Well, we also know this person doesn't even give that same weight to general courtesy. They just leak things because they think it's cute. They also probably watched a Zizek video about it or something. I don't know.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Things are going now. Okay, so on the notice of leaking shit, I find it really, really curious how apparently when members of the RSOC mod team go to people's outside profiles off of the subreddit and gather information from there to make decisions about banning people, about whether or not they should be a part of the community, and and then you use that information to shit on them. I'm just saying, I find it really, really interesting.
No, I think there's actually something interesting to CMAG's point here. And look, I'm gonna give you a lot of shit, CMAG, because frankly, I think you're full of a lot of shit. But to address your point directly, we deal with what information is available to us publicly. So when people give us information publicly, whether that's the profile they present us with, talk to us with, it's the profile we have to deal with on the moderation team or the Discord. It's the profile we have, the information is there. We don't go asking for it. It's simply in front of us and we have to pursue it.
Yeah. The information that was sent to me, because I didn't somehow magically stalk you guys. Someone sent me those screenshots, right? I merely facilitated the sharing of them. Make of that judgment what you will. Also, for people that are listening, is my mic volume better now?
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay. So, just on that note, I'll fully own the fact that even I've had my doubts about whether or not I should have leaked that shit in the past couple of days since I did it. Even I've questioned, just should I really have done that? Whatever, it's done. I still think that your user base had the right to know that you were laughing about them behind their back. I still think that that's legitimate. And, because especially there were a lot of people that were raising legitimate concerns, I'm kind of concerned about that kind of behavior. And I believe that that's the kind of thing that people do need to know about.
Oh, certainly. First of all, on the first level of what you have to say, and sorry if this comes off crudely, but on the first level, what you had to say, yeah, no, I mean, I smoke weed too. Sometimes I get like that. On the second level, of what you have to say. The fact of the matter is that we're not all sitting here laughing at people behind their backs. Yes, we get funny mod mail. Yes, we get funny responses to things. It happens sometimes, but it's not something we sit here for. It may brighten up our day sometimes, but it's not the point of why we do the things we do. The fact that somebody says something funny in mod mail, or that we laugh at something somebody says that's funny in mod mail, seems pretty immaterial to, first of all, going after chat moderators, which is what you did. Whether you want to agree with it or not, see Magnificent, you didn't actually mostly go after actual moderators of the subreddit. You went after mostly people who were just chat moderators of the Discord community. And if that's your problem, then fine. But that's wholly removed from anything else.
The thing is it's not removed because you directly advertise that Discord on the subreddit, and numerous people on the mod team of the subreddit are also chat moderators and on the mod team of the Discord. I'm saying that to say that the things are wholly removed is really disingenuous.
Yeah. And sorry, Anon. But to steal your terminology here, Anon, to be blunt about it, you shared a screenshot of me saying I'm going to ban you, see Magnificent, for sharing what you're sharing, and I have no problem with that. I'm glad you did. You deserve to be banned. You were highlighting a bunch of people who had no control over the subreddit. They had nearly nothing to do with the subreddit, except in name only. And the fact of the matter is that in terms of how internet trolls work, you aimed them at people who effectively were not responsible for anything involving the problems you have with us.
So how is what I did materially different from, mods posting comments that include a lot of screenshots from outside sources of why they banned users, detailing shit that user said? Like what is the material difference?
I'm not entirely sure what you mean. We literally have a layer of discussion that is restricted specifically to dealing with the subreddit. They have no sway there. I'm not sure what else to tell you. Like, we literally do not talk with chat moderators. As much as we love them, I love a lot of our chat moderators. I think they're fantastic, and I think they're really good at what they do. But they have no sway over actual policy that we implement. And yes, really quickly on that point, I understand over the past 72 hours that a moderator action occurred that betrays that sentiment, where somebody was essentially banned for offsite activities who was fairly popular, and that should not have happened. And that was a fuck up. It shouldn't have happened. People shit the bed. They were warned they shouldn't do it. They were warned that they were shitting the bed if they did, and they went forward with it anyway. But those people are effectively gone at this point, and we need to be okay with that. We need to understand that and move forward with it. Oh, that's who I have blocked right now. It's Tex. Well, let's be honest. CMAG deserves to be a lot more oppressed. Well, the fact of the matter is that we had nearly being blunt about it, 75,000. I think maybe I need to do the math again. Roughly 75,000 more people than we normally do on the subreddit per day. Yeah, that's a brigade. Sorry. You might not like listening to it or hearing about it, but that's a brigade situation when you have 75,000 more people than normal on a given day. That's a brigade. I'm gonna disagree with you, Captain ACAB. That's not the biggest meme of this drama, but it's nice that you tried. The biggest meme of this drama is that we took a principled position against catgirls. That's a meme, and it's a shit one. We took a principled stance against a problem that didn't exist and resulted in 1/3 of our mod team disappearing or deleting their accounts or removing themselves from the mod team. And what did we gain from it? Well, the person we were presumably working against got more popularity than they probably had in their entire career. Yeah. Yeah, no, they're probably actually making money off of it at this point.
Alright, so what did I miss?
Hey, at least we got catgirls off the subreddit.
Sorry, I had to go actually work for a little bit of my damn job. What did I miss?
Well, we got catgirls banned from the subreddit. Hey!
Yeah, I do. I did. Sorry about that. But, honestly, I don't entirely buy your argument on that. And you could just call this like a personal preference or a personal difference. And this is something that I've argued very, very staunchly over in the Rat Chat numerous times is I don't believe in preemptively banning people for association unless, they're like an obvious fascist or shit like that. And other people that are there can confirm that I've argued this position in the face of some pretty intense opposition. Because I just don't like the concept of preemptively banning someone because they went to like a website that I don't particularly like. Like I've never even fucking been on leftypol. Why am I going to start trying to ban leftypol users? I don't even give a shit.
Well, that makes it actually really. Oh no, that's actually really fascinating. I love that. I'm really glad that you said that, CMAG, because it exposes just how bankrupt your position is. Because you remove all actual experience from it. You remove anything that matters, anything that could matter. It's just like there's a thing called leftypol out there. It exists. Who the fuck knows what happens over there? Whatever. I'm not going to ban people for that. Well, yeah, guess what? If you actually pay attention to the world and you know something about how the internet works, you have to understand what happens there. And that goes for all of the other subjects you brought up. And you can't just proclaim ignorance and then pretend that after the fact, I just have a moral opposition to understanding what's happening in the world. No, you don't
That
get to do
is
that.
a really, really beautiful misinterpretation, straw man, and complete spin of what I said. So, kudos to you.
How is it a straw man? How is it a straw man? Tell me.
Because what I'm saying, literally my entire point was I don't like preemptively banning people for their associations. Like if they come to where the places where,
If you knew somebody was a member of the Ku Klux Klan, would you ban them from your community, whatever community that is?
In the chat just brought up a really good point. Is leftypol the KKK? Like, you're not going to prove a point by throwing out obvious false dichotomies. Like, if I know someone is
But
a
they're
fucking
not
fascist,
false
like, if they
dichotomy.
sign
It's
on,
literally asking you, like, on a day-to-day level, you know, to Anon Socialist point, you know Donald Trump is a problematic figure. You ban them from your community. Where's
Right,
the
but I'm not going to ban someone who hangs out in a leftist community I don't approve of
So
just because
you
I don't approve
simply
of that
just
leftist
so
community.
your point is simply that you have a problem. You have essentially a quote unquote free speech problem.
No,
That's it.
my point is that, because you asked me, did I hear why you sometimes go through people's history to find out if you should ban them or if you should preemptively ban them or not allow them. My point on that is that I am part of a community. I have
Anon
communities
Socialist, shut
that
up. What
don't
are you saying,
do that
CMAC?
shit and don't have problems with raids.
CMAC, can you
Don't
repeat
need
that?
to do
Sorry,
that shit.
CMAC, can you repeat that? I didn't hear you.
Okay. So essentially, the argument is that I'm a part of a community, and I've seen a lot of other communities who don't preemptively go out and research people to see whether or not they should even be allowed in, and they don't have problems with raids. So, like, the
Well,
entire argument that we need to do this to stop raids is really disingenuous to me because it works
no,
in
what it
other
sounds
places.
like is that the communities you're a part of just aren't interesting enough to raid. I'm sorry, but that's the bottom line. They're just not interesting, so nobody actually raids them. Our community is actually interesting, so people raid them, which basically leads us to the situation we're in now. Yeah, just to echo Anon Socialist here, like the very idea that I want to go looking through people's post histories is a farce. I don't give a fuck. I really don't want to look through your post histories. Let me be blunt about it. 99% of people I talk to on the subreddit and on here, I'm just not interested in talking to. You're really not that interesting. I only look at people's post histories when I absolutely have to because I have an edge case ban reason where I'm like, I'm not sure how I feel about this one. Let's see what they said before and where that all fits into everything else. Like, I really
Okay,
don't give a
so
shit about you.
what criteria do you use to decide if someone is suspect or if someone isn't towing the party line properly? Like, because that's another question that I have. That's another concern that I have.
I look for whether people appear to me to be racist, sexist, ableist, or crypto racist, sexist, or crypto racist, crypto sexist, crypto ableist. I really don't give a shit about anything beyond that. I really try not to. I try my hardest to avoid thinking about it beyond that. I'm not a member of a party. I'm not beyond the meme, and I know it's a meme, and I play into it myself. I'm not a Trotskyist. I'm not a member of any Trotskyist org. I'm not a member of any org. I'm just a guy who fucking moderates a subreddit, and people lose their shit over every action.
Well, that's kind of my point, right? Even though I haven't made this point yet, for which I apologize, but so much of this strikes me as so fucking bizarre because yeah, you are just the moderator of a fucking subreddit. What is it with these ideological purity tests? What is it with these ridiculous vetting channels? What is it with these really, really
The
stringent
subreddit is
policies?
not the same thing as the Discord channel. And I can get your point. If they were so intimately connected that they were the same thing, I think you'd have a point. But the fact is you don't actually have a point. We don't want to
We
go
directly
on.
advertise for the Discord on the subreddit. Numerous members of the mod team of the subreddit are on the Discord channel. The Discord is called
Yeah,
the r
including
side
myself.
Discord. I'm sorry, they're
Including
connected.
myself. Including myself. And I actually, hey, guess what, CMAG? You know who came up with the idea of investigating people's post histories, it was me. I'm the one who did it. I'm not a big fan of how it's gone so far. I think we need to kind of re-look at things and deal with things in a slightly different way. And I think there's fair criticisms to be made of that process, and it is my fault, and I introduced it. But the fact of the matter is that the subreddit is not the same thing as the Discord. Let me be blunt about it. The R Socialism Discord, I consider my home. It's where I go to talk to people, and I have a lot of fun talking to people, and we're all very comfortable with each other. We know who we are. We know where we're coming from. We let new people in sometimes we don't. But that's the fact of the matter. The subreddits essentially, like, it's a thing that exists. I moderate it. I make sure it's not filled with racism, brocialism, or sexism, or whatever. But it's just kind of a thing out there. And you want to conflate these two things, and they're actually pretty different.
I completely agree with that. What Can't Touch This just said was way out of line, for the record. I can completely understand that, and I can completely relate with it. And this is one of those things where it comes back down to a personal perspective and personal preference. Obviously I call the Rat Chat my home in much the same way that you, MSFD, call the SOC Discord your home. It's where I go to talk to people. Those people are also part of my social support network. It's a great place for me. And so when you talk to me about like striking that balance in moderation between do you lean more towards, strictly regulating what's okay, or do you lean more towards trusting the community and trusting the people inside of that community to regulate what's okay? I definitely lean more towards trusting the community, and that's why I generally hang out in anarchist circles more than I hang out in strict socialist circles. That's a difference in ideology. It's a difference in perspective. I can appreciate why it's and how it is such a difficult line to walk, because you're right. You are damned if you do, damned if you don't a lot of the times. But the thing is I am personally distressed. I mean, distress is awfully a dramatic term for it, but I personally don't really like the tone or the attitude of shutting down so many things right off the bat. I would. So, first of all, and I don't even know the full stories of a lot of these things, but when huge slews of people are coming to me and they're telling me that they were just banned from RSOC because they were critical of the mod team, that's something that raises my concerns, right? That's something that I don't like seeing. From what, at least, because we ban the R word on in the Rat Chat too. Like, it's not like this magical free speech free for all. It's not. We ban shitty terminology too. We ban oppressive terminology too. We might have some disagreements about where exactly that line should be drawn, but we ban it too. We don't tolerate it either. But the thing is when someone, slips up or fucks up, or when there's someone who's new that's just getting into leftism, that's just getting into socialism, that's just getting into issues of social justice, when someone who legitimately doesn't know that these terms and terminology can hurt, and then they come in and they use it, and then they're instantly banned, that's not good outreach, guys.
Well, can I say something about this real quick? Yes, I appreciate your concern, and I think it's a nice hot take. But the fact of the matter is that this is actually a severe difference of platform in terms of in terms of our socialism, we have our socialism 101. It's a place for people to learn, and we're actually pretty lenient there. As long as people aren't just obviously shitty, we allow people to go to our socialism 101, learn, discuss, and hopefully kind of course correct on that front. But more immediately, it's a difference of platform in terms of Discord's both, a little bit more lenient in terms of it allows you to make moderators, chat moderators, create various, bifurcations or hierarchies of how you want to organize things. The actual subreddit doesn't. I'll say this much. It does in a different way. The subreddit, you can either ban people for 12 hours, 24 hours, 3 days, 5 days. You can ban people for any, number of days. On the Discord, it's essentially anybody who has the permission to can ban somebody permanently. And that's just the limitation of the platform you have to deal with.
I'm not following the point you were trying to make there. Yeah, I appreciate that. One of the things I'm going to throw out, and this is just for your guys' consideration, because go ahead and think I'm the biggest dick in the world, and go ahead and think I'm just a fucking awful human being. But
real quick, I am actually going to leave for a moment to go have a cigarette. But
I'm actually going to do the same because I smoke.
I want you to understand real quick, C-Mag.
Finish my thought?
I don't think that about you. I actually kind of like you quite a bit. I think you're a pretty interesting guy, and I was really hoping you would stick around in our Discord.
Take some time to get to know me before you say that you like me. I am kind of a dick, but we'll get to that after the cigarette.
Well, you did share a lot of screenshots of our community that were
I did that.
You can kind of go fuck yourself on that front, but, these things aren't mutually exclusive.
Yo. Spy chip, you there?
What's up, mandatory?
Like, this goes for everyone, including myself. I make this mistake at times. But if you're going to fucking front as if you have the moral high ground and you're dealing with someone who is just absolutely wrong, at least get your facts straight. No, this is that's a general statement that everyone should take to heart. But that actually is specifically targeted at RadQAV. And if you're wondering why I have such a fucking intransigent, rude tone right now, it's because I've been in a fuck the haters mood since Friday night. And this is, and like, I've said this time and again, but it's true. I need to say it again. This isn't me. This isn't me as a mod of our socialism. This is me as a person. As a Reddit user. I just don't care. No. Zeal can do whatever the fuck they want.
Alright, I've returned. Yeah, like, I understand that as well, and, but specifically with reference to that policy and how it came out, this was the point I was going to make before I went on the smoke break, and this is also, the concerns that people have relayed to me, and one of the concerns that I felt, because if you really feel like going through the entirety of my post history on Reddit, you're going to see that I've participated in RSOC on and off. In this last spring, I gave a very detailed newbie breakdown of a basic socialist argument, things like that. But one of the things that people have constantly brought up to me is that they feel that a lot of these decisions and a lot of these policies are just imposed as coming from the top down. And you've said that it's a learning process and you're discovering and learning how you go, and that our policies over on the Rat Chat have been a bit smoother. And one of the real reasons behind that, yeah, and that's literally the argument that I was about to make, is I was saying that our process has been smoother because we always had that standard of community involvement and community participation in the decision-making process. Like if you even look at how the rat chat is structured, the mods and the admins are glorified janitors. Every single decision about server rules or server management is made by the trusted user group, and we just enforce it. Like there's nothing more to it than that. Yeah.
Well, I am going to say this. The fact of the matter is that rat chat, and this is going to be my last comment. I actually do need to go to sleep after this. I've gone on too long. I'm a little bit too tired. I'm a bit worn out at this point. But the fact of the matter is that rat chat, frankly, just does not deal with what we deal with. Like, rat chat's not actually officially connected to our anarchism. It actually does not make any decisions that are relevant to anarchism as a subreddit and how it's handled or how it's organized or anything of that matter. It's just essentially a Discord that exists out there in the ether. And I'm glad that it does, and, it fulfills an urge for certain people. But it does not actually do anything of substance. I'm sorry, but I just don't think the comparison is actually that relevant. Our socialism moderators are actual moderators of the Our Socialism Discord, and we actually do try to organize things on the subreddit, and that's a wholly different matter than a bunch of random people calling themselves anarchists who, frankly, mostly aren't. Trying to pretend they do anything relevant to anything. Anyway, I'm off to bed. Good night. Deal with that hot take.
Alright, that's more than fine. Have a pleasant evening, gentlemen. Enjoy yourselves. Hopefully we can talk more because again, since our socialism is going to be such a hitting point, especially over the next 4 years, I want it to be a good place. Like, I'm just concerned that it isn't right now. Yeah, and that's exactly the kind of direction I want to see. Like, one of the things that is still kind of concerning to me is I've heard a lot of talk that you are opening up, that you are working on ways to get more community involvement, and I have yet to see what that plan materially looks like and what it's actually going to be like in practice. Right, and I do appreciate that, and I think, I'm just going to put this out there, and again, take it or leave it for what you want. A really, really good way to establish the intention and the idea of wanting more community involvement is bringing the community in on the discussion about how to make more community involvement. Okay, I'm really excited to hear that, and I'm looking forward to see where that process moves forward in the future, because, right now, and again, go ahead and call me a cynic, but I'm definitely in a position of I'll believe it when I see it. Like when I see the policies out there in the wild and I see them working and I see them creating a more inclusive environment and a more community-focused, community-oriented environment, then I'll, start to really backpedal on a lot of my positions on RSOC and the RSOC mod team. Like I'll still have some outlying concerns, just because I'm a contentious asshole, but that will go a long way to alleviating, at the very least, my concerns. And from the people that I've talked to, I know it'll start alleviating a lot of their concerns as well once it starts happening. Yeah, obviously that kind of thing is fucked up, but it's just like when I was, 13 and my interpretation of leftist politics was fucking Rage Against the Machine lyrics, that might have been something I would have said. So it's like, how much is our socialism supposed to be a learning environment as well? I mean, obviously you can't have people. It's a lot of. Yeah, and so I'm just gonna throw this out there as an example, but let's say that I woke up tomorrow and I had somehow forgotten everything I knew about leftist politics. but I was concerned about what I saw in the world, and I knew that this socialism idea was supposed to be a solution to it. And I'm a Redditor, the first place I'm going to go is our socialism. I'm not going to go to Socialism 101. And then let's say I say something ill-advised. I say one of the slurs that you've taken a hardline stance against, because that's the vocabulary, that's the vernacular I know, and now all of a sudden I've been banned from a community, even though I had a genuine desire to. Okay, that works for me, but is there what is the learning mechanism there? Like it says, repost it without the slur. Where's the explanation of how these slurs can be harmful, and more importantly, how these, struggles form an intersection with socialism and class struggles? Maybe that's the educator in me, but I really
We don't send physics students to physics conferences, so I don't know why you're so concerned. When you take these positions, when you take these what ifs that we've taken pains to make sure that don't apply, I don't see that you actually care.
Okay, well, that's a personal value judgment that you can go ahead and say that you don't think that my concerns are valid, but I'm going to leave that to the judgment of the people that are listening, because I think they are. Because do you want, people with little experience and little knowledge of these areas are going to be coming to our socialism, and they might face some
consequences. Our socialism 101 if they have a 101 level question.
It's an answer. I'm not sure if I'm entirely okay with it, but again, at a certain point, I am just much more go ahead and call it laid back and freewheeling about the educational aspect.
Wait, so let me get this straight. You're not okay with people who have 101 level concerns being directed to a 101 level environment where those concerns can probably be better addressed?
What I'm saying is I don't entirely understand why those concerns can't be addressed on the sub itself, but that's a question for how you guys want to structure it. That's just me literally talking.
Because it can be distracting at times to answer the same questions over and over again.
So you're going to have the people in 101 answering the same questions over and over again.
Well, it makes sense because it's a 101 level environment. That's what you go there for.
Well, again, just to clarify, I'm not affiliated with our anarchism. I don't work with our anarchism. I'm not a huge fan of them either. I only brought them up way, way, way earlier in this discussion because they seem to have a more democratic model than our socialism currently. I'm with the Rat Chat, which isn't connected. And I can tell you the way that. Yeah, and our concerns are doubly categorically different, because the place that I work with, I'm it's a how do I phrase this? Goddamn, words are failing me. It's a live chat, right? It's not a forum style system. It's not a Reddit style system. It's an active, evolving chat where it's real time. There's the word, real time. So the concerns are fundamentally different. But I can tell you how we directly deal with, the issue of slurs and people being uncomfortable with their use, and how we approach that issue and how we handle users in that kind of situation. I can tell you how we do it, and, you can maybe take a cue from that, or you can completely disregard it. That's up to you.
Fact of the matter is, despite the fact that what we do is more stringent than what you do, we're still getting messages from people who are members, who are part of minority groups. They still feel uncomfortable being in the subreddit because of the presence of oppressive language that still exists. And we're not going to ignore those voices. We're not going to simply do something less stringent because you don't like it.
That is again, a really poor miscategorization of what I'm saying. Like, I'm saying that there is a balance to be struck between...
Clearly the balance has to go further than what we've already done. That's my point.
Yeah, and I'm not about, to sit here and say that we should, or you guys, I'm not involved in this, that you guys should start taking cues from a moderation style, like our communism that is obviously absurd. But what I'm saying is that there is a balance to be struck between giving people a chance to learn and giving people a chance to discover, as well as
Why do
protecting
you
the
think
people.
that our socialism should be the primary learning environment for people? And if it isn't, then why is this a concern?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? You cut out.
I asked two questions. One, why do you think our socialism should be the primary learning, the primary learning environment about socialism? And two, to finish that question and not say something like Socialism 101. And two, if you don't think it should be the primary learning environment, why is this a concern?
I think it's going to be the primary learning environment, whether you want it to or not, because of exactly what I said earlier, is if someone is coming with no real knowledge of socialism beforehand but wants to learn more about it, they're not going to enter, /r/socialism 101 first. They're going to go straight to socialism first. That's going to be their first exposure to it. That's where they're going to have their first conversations about it. That's where they're going to have their first interactions with socialists. That is going to be the primary learning area. That's a statement of fact.
Let's be fair. If someone makes a small comment about a small point, a small clarification, like that's tolerable. And that happens all the time. But if that's all they're going to be doing, they need to be directed to a better environment. If their one-on-one level question actually ends up requiring lots of effort to unravel an answer, they need to be directed to a one-on-one level environment.
Sure, they need to be directed there, and I'm saying that the 101 environment serves a useful purpose, but what I'm saying is that whether or not you like it, our socialism is going to be the first learning environment. It is going to be the first point of exposure. Right. So I can get that, and that's obviously a question that you guys need to answer about yourselves and for your community is our socialism supposed to be, are you going to structure it and are you going to moderate it in such a way so that it's a discussion space for people that are already familiar with socialism, they already know it, and they're already there and ready to go with the idea? Or is it going to be the landing page for people that are just coming to the idea? Now, my argument is that whether or not you like that particular fact, is it's going to be the latter. Like, the zeitgeist and historical condition. All right, yeah, like that makes sense to me. I'm just saying that like one of the burdens that comes with taking such the obvious name for the center place for socialism, our socialism. That's where people are going to first look up, is that if people want to be part of that community, well, one of the things that you're going to have to accept is that people are going to come into that community asking a lot of